Jason, we've talked about the different types of the machines out there and how that works and the changes that are probably forthcoming. I'm curious though, with these two, what's some of the differences with the recovery and the recharge process?
Sure, yeah. With 1234YF, there are some additional steps required compared to doing what 134 like most of us are used to and have done for years. The first thing is it's required to go through a refrigerant identification step before it will recover that refrigerant into its internal tank. And it's looking for 98% pure or better refrigerant. Otherwise, it's going to reject it, and you've got a whole other set of problems.
Right.
Then once it passes that, it recovers just like this machine would.
Okay.
For recharging, it'll go through its vacuum, initially, because it's got to pull a vacuum on the system, but then it will do a mandatory 5-minute vacuum test to make sure that the integrity of that system is good. It's looking for any kind of leak down where the vacuum's not holding, or vacuum hold test, I should call it. So then, if it passes that, it'll put 15% of the refrigerant into the system of the charge, and then it'll prompt you to do a test inside the car underneath the dash.
Wow.
And you turn the car on, but don't start it. Put the blower motor on low and the vent to floor. And you run your sniffer in there on the highest setting, for about 5 minutes or so. And you want to make sure that there's no refrigerant leaking out of that evaporator into the passenger compartment. And the reason for that is because that 1234YF is mildly flammable.
Oh.
So that's potential liability if you have a flammable gas getting into your passenger compartment.
Yeah.
It's super flammable like gasoline, but the potential's there.
Of course.
So it's got to be safety.
Yeah, that's completely different from what I'm used to with the 134. So when I see the differences here, but also know there's a lot of different brands of vehicles, right? There's some internal combustion, there's some that are battery electric, and of course, you have hybrid. What are some of the differences as far as what the process that we have to go through with them?
So the process is going to be very similar between those. The key with those is the refrigerant oil. You've got to make sure you're using the correct non-conductive refrigerant oil in those vehicles that use an electric compressor, whether it's a hybrid or an EV. EV is obviously going to use them. Hybrids, you might not think that right away, but a lot of them are using a high voltage compressor. If you have put the wrong oil in there that's conductive, you could end up with a ground fault and an error in the system, disabling the whole electrical system in it. And then you're looking at replacing every single component in that AC system to correct that.
Wow.
It's not a mistake anybody wants to make.
Correct. Yeah, that's definitely a cautionary tale that we all should listen to.
If you found today's tip helpful, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Comment below for any future suggestions.
These videos are made possible by SCRS. If you aren't currently a member, I encourage you to join. Visit scrs.com or use the link in the description below.